Agent 9. Peter found that what he was seeing through 13's eyes was more entertaining than what was in front of him that day in and day out. It was like watching reality TV with drama spread out over time. But drama, when it finally arrived, worth the wait, as it was co-written by the viewer. Having control over 13 was enjoyable, but Peter was starting to wonder if he had pushed his limits. As much as he hated wife beaters, he didn't like what he had done. He first noticed her when he turned a corner on Rue Ernst Renan. Peter had 13 follow at a distance. She was dark-skinned and beautiful. Peter was unsure if he followed because of the former or the latter part of her description. He was tempted to board the same bus as her, but concerned he would be revealed for the stalker he was. Decided to instruct a passing taxi to follow the bus. And it is 32 Fahrenheit, 0 degrees. We'll continue somewhere else, warmer. He first noticed her when she turned a corner of Rue Ernst Renan. Peter had 13 follow at a distance. I already said that. He was tempted to board the same bus. Why don't we have any data on 13? Are you a detective? The taxi driver asked. Yes, sir, but you need not be alarmed. The person I follow is wanted for white-collar crimes. The taxi driver continued to harass 13 with questions of what the suspect had done. Peter continued to create a ridiculous storyline. The taxi stopped behind the bus at each of its many stops, positioning himself so that Peter could see whether the woman departed. I've never aided the law like this before. I've only seen it in movies, the driver said, quite excited by the character that Peter had made the woman out to be. Oh yeah, she was a major accountant for Al-Qaeda, money laundering. But again, sir, you need not be concerned. She has no record of violence, only financial crimes. Since 13 had no story on this woman, he was at the mercy of Peter creating one. The woman finally got off the bus. 13 swiped his credit card and got out of the taxi. Good morning, monsieur. Monsieur, said the taxi driver. Good luck, monsieur, said the taxi driver. Thank you for your assistance, friend, said 13. You are a patriot. The woman entered the front of the 3-floor apartment building. Peter waited a few seconds before following her. As he entered the building, he opened the stairwell door and upon hearing the distant sound of a woman's hard shoes on the stone stairs, he followed her at a slight distance. He heard another door open, waited for it to close, and followed. As he opened the door to the 3rd floor, before him stood the woman blocking his way. She grabbed his shirt and pushed him into the stairwell against the banister. Peter could feel 13 off balance and pulled himself upright. He could feel the heavy force of the woman's hand on his shirt. What the fuck? What's wrong with you? He yelled. Who are you and what do you want? Demanded the woman. I was going to ask you the same question, said 13 as he tried to grab her. She kneed 13 in the groin, but with no success. She then proceeded to punch 13 in the chest. Peter yelled out, fuck, as he grabbed his chest. It felt like a sledgehammer had struck his rib cage. The force of the punch had sent 13 down the flight of stairs. He got back on his feet and ran up towards Peter. I'm sorry, I'm really cold. I'm not saying it right. He got back on his feet and ran up toward her. Her second punch was caught by 13. Peter could feel the small fist held in his. 13 squeezed her fist, but there was no bone-breaking sound this time. With her free hand, she grabbed 13's face, dug her nails into it, and pulled a chunk of synthetic skin off, revealing a set of teeth resting on top of a titanium jaw. There was not a drop of blood. Just as I thought, the woman said. She looked around her and moved into the hall, keeping the door open with her left foot. Quick, follow me. Get out of the stairwell. The woman headed towards an apartment, put the key in the door and went in. 13 followed. "Sit down," ordered the woman. She went back into the drawer and pulled out what looked to be a small bottle of liquid. "May I?" she said. "You can't go outside looking like this." 13 sat still. The woman applied the substance to the part of 13's face that had been torn off. When the woman was finished, she put the cap back on the bottle. "You're ready to blend now." Blending flashed on 13's screen. The woman held a mirror to 13 and Peter could see his face. It looked normal, although Peter never knew how badly 13's face had been torn by this woman. "So," the woman said, "this is the first time I've come across another agent. I wondered why I couldn't find out your identity." "You're an agent?" said 13. "Yes." My mic okay? Oh, it's kind of hidden back there. Let me get it back out. "Yes, I'm Agent 9. "Holy shit, I'm 13. "You must be new, as I was only aware of 12 of us throughout Europe." "I'm the new lad." "Yes," said Peter. "Why are you Indian?" "How do you know I'm not Pakistani?" "No, I mean, if they're putting agents in Paris, wouldn't they look French?" "What does a French person look like?" asked 9. "I suppose you're right." "What's your name?" 13, I told you. "No, your real name." Peter could feel his heart race as he looked into it, as she looked into his eyes. "My name is Peter Casey. I'm from Ringsend. It's in Dublin. That's where I'm now. Yourself?" "My name is Shri. I'm from Mumbai. That's where I am right now." "What the fuck?" "I'm sorry, excuse my language, miss. What on earth are you doing in India? I mean, I thought this was a European setup." "It's a long story, Peter. I look forward to telling you more. Perhaps we could take a walk? We should be patrolling now anyway, so we can chat while we walk." "Sounds great. I'd love the company." The two agents left the apartment and walked the streets with no particular place to go. Why would an agent's controller be based out of Mumbai? "I thought this was a European operation." "It is. My agent is here in Paris." "Alright, just surprised that they picked a controller based out of Mumbai." "They're very selective about their agents, so perhaps they had broadened the net of controllers," said Shri. "I suppose," said Peter, "perhaps." "Can I buy you a coffee?" Oh, sorry, Peter could see the light blue distant sky over Paris, signaling the close of day. "Can I buy you a coffee?" "I'd be delighted," said Shri. "But as you know, I cannot actually drink it, nor can you for that matter." "They must think we are Egypts, I mean. Our agents paying for drinks that we never drink. I mean the cafe stuff, if they watch us. Do you know what I mean?" Shri laughed. "Yes, indeed." They went into a nearby cafe and sat outside. They were the only two sitting outside as the evening was cool, but they had the ability to choose to not feel the agent's body temperature. "What do you do in Mumbai when you're not controlling Agent 9? "I own a shop that keeps me busy. It's a clothing shop." "So being the boss, you're able to get away quite easily when duty calls?" "I wouldn't say that. My boss is the customer, so I have to learn to multitask." Peter looked at the attractive young lady and wondered if Shri looked the same. "And you?" "I'm sorry?" said Peter, feeling caught off guard, aware he'd been staring at her, drifting off, confused. If she had just asked him if he looked anything like his agent. "What do you do when you're not fighting crime in Paris?" "Oh yeah, I work in Dublin. I work in a shop also. I'm not the owner." "So we are both in retail." The couple continued talking for over an hour and decided to go their separate ways. "Shri," said Peter as they were about to depart, "I'd like to stay in contact if we can. Not sure if we are supposed to, but I'd like to. My agent gets lonely." Shri smiled. The inside of Peter's chest started to flutter. "Sure, that'd be great. The only way I can imagine we'd keep in touch though is through our personal cell phones. We could arrange to meet that way. That would be great. When we're on break, of course." Shri departed. That's the end of that chapter. It is coming up on sunrise over Dublin. I was hoping they'd rise behind the two towers, but it looks like it's rising off in the distance there. This is Sandymount Strand. A scene happens here. Good memories of this strand. I remember hearing a story as a kid that you should never walk too far out. That's actually towards England right there. It's east. You should never walk too far out because these young kids had walked far out and the water came in around them and trapped them and they drowned. I don't actually know if that's true, but it became true to us, so it made us behave and not walk too far out. Although I did walk far out there. Last time I did was 1990 spring before I left home. I was listening to Enya's first album and just taking a walk over by the towers. There you go. And then the incinerator, which is made reference to, was here, built since I've been gone. It burns rubbish, but they say 98% of it is turned to steam, which on a morning like this, you could see the smoke is a lot denser, so it does look like steam. And of course our two towers, which you can't see very well here, repainted, looking very marvellous. And there you go. Happy New Year. It's January 3rd.